This is the design video for the game Alive. Originally, I wanted to sort of menu because I just feel like it gives it a bit more life and kind of premise to the game than a 2D one can. So, showing that it's got the day-night cycle, easily accessible for controls, which we'll show you here, and then launch you straight into the game. With this game, I wanted it to be sort of mainly a survival day-night cycle game. So you'd go along, collect all these gems, which the player can only hold like a specific amount of. So they can't have like an infinite number and just plow through all the upgrades and get like all villages and stuff in one night. So originally I wanted it to start off so you have enough villages, um, gems, just to last you the first night. When the player would go over to something which is purchasable, it would come up showing like the amount of gems at the top. So say over here with the builder one, it would come up with 2 gems because obviously you'd need to use 2 gems to purchase a role for the AI. To recruit AI, everything in this game would be done through using just one currency, so gems. Basically, the main driving point of this game is to use your currency to build up your camp strong enough to defend against attackers which come through the night, or build up upgrades for your defenses to make sure that everything will obviously last as the nights go on. Obviously, the nights last about 5 minutes, and the enemies spawn each night and day obviously will get larger as the days go on. So that's just showing the AI moving towards the role which I've just assigned it to. And this is building another role. So obviously if the AI already has a role, it won't go over and get another role. With the day-night cycle, I wanted to do it so it was just a visual thing rather than having some sort of UI element to it. So you could only see the day, what time of day it is by like either looking at the background to see where the sun position is, or by the direction of light. So the player has to kind of think about how much time they have to go explore the rest of the map to collect stuff like gems at the end, or to get more pedestrians or peds or NPCs for your camp to assign different roles to. This shows that the enemy attacking and coming towards you can make them go away by just dropping a gem. But obviously, either way, you'll be losing a currency, and when that currency drops to nothing in your wallet up at the top right corner, then your humanity little heart will come out, and the enemy AI will pick that up, take it away to the base. If one of your AIs can't destroy it before it getting back to its base, then it's game over and you've got to restart. So another main focus which I wanted to have in this game as well was obviously as the nights go on, you get more overwhelmed. You'd have to upgrade these walls because they have set amounts of health, and the only way to upgrade that wall is by upgrading your camp. So it makes it accessible. Obviously, have I got enough gems? I've got enough gems. So once you do that, it'll upgrade it, and it'll make it so you can then go to this wall, which obviously just was crossed out, and upgrade it to a secondary tier, which means it would have more health for like as other nights go on. Obviously, as more enemies spawn as the days, nights progress. Another base mechanic I wanted was I didn't want the player to be able to run to another place like really quickly, because obviously that means they will just run through the entire game extremely quickly. So I've set up a sprint system. It doesn't show the player via UI either, like the day-night cycle. A sprint system that regenerates quicker when you're stood still, but obviously when you're walking, it regenerates just not as quickly. And obviously you can only sprint when that is over a certain threshold. at the edges of each map to encourage the player to explore and go out. I've put chests on each side, which will dispense a set number of gems. That'll encourage a player to maybe go out to the edges of the map, explore, look at the environment a bit, and if they know it's not on one side, then it will encourage them to go explore on the other side. With the NPC camps, which you can find out in the open, I decided to place it just after enemy spawn, so the player can't like easily get to it. So they'd have to wait for a specific time to go out, get the NPCs from there, and either recruit them to go back to the camp. The NPC camps only hold like a max number of 2 NPCs at a time. So when a day is over, then it will spawn 1 more. So you can only max get 1 NPC per day. So you've also got to think about currency management again there, and what role you would assign the NPCs. Making the player think about their choices with spending. With the player, when you have no gems and you get hit, I wanted it to kind of slow down time and make it a bit more cinematic for the player, because obviously I want the player to realize that this is end game. If obviously they have this object taken from them, so this adds a bit more of a cinematic edge to it, makes it a bit more pleasing to look at. And at the end, once they've taken it back to the base, you can either retry the game or quit.